I just walked out of the movie Lorne, and as somebody who grew up loving Saturday Night Live, this was a really fascinating, if slightly incomplete look at one of the most influential people in television. As expected, I have a few thoughts on this one. I'll start off by saying having Chris Parnell narrate is just kind of perfect. His voice just fits this world so well, and the number of celebrity interviews in this is honestly kind of insane. But it kind of has to be. You can't tell the story of Lorne Michaels without hearing from the hundreds of people he's impacted over the years. And that idea really becomes the backbone of the film. There's a line early on that Lorne says, "If you want to understand me, understand the show." And that's exactly what this documentary leans into. This isn't really a history of SNL, and it's not a behind-the-scenes breakdown either. It's more of a character study of Lorne through the lens of the show. But what makes it work is the access. You get moments that really feel like they've never been shown before. Lorne reacting when a sketch isn't working, or those famously tense, mostly nonverbal meetings between dress rehearsal and air when sketches get cut. As a fan, that stuff is fascinating. Stylistically, the film also takes some pretty big swings. There are these random animated cutaways and surreal flashbacks that shouldn't work, but they do. It kind of adds to the mythology of Lorne as this larger-than-life, slightly mysterious figure. And then there are these really specific human moments that I loved, like random stories about Lorne's fish guy taking care of his aquarium, or a maitre d' who refused to reveal what he orders at the same restaurant every week. It's weird, it's funny, and it gives just enough texture without fully breaking the mystique. Also, a small highlight, but every time Conan O'Brien shows up, the movie just gets funnier. He is so good in this. The documentary also digs into parts of Lorne's career that I genuinely did not know much about, like his early work as a variety show host, producing for Lily Tomlin, his friendship with his neighbor Paul Simon, even his time away from SNL, where he built the new show for NBC, which only lasted 9 episodes. That stuff is really fascinating, especially if you only know him through SNL. There are even a couple fun connections, like learning that Jack Donaghy from 30 Rock is partially inspired by Lorne, and that dynamic between Tina Fey's Liz Lemon reflects their real-life relationship. As somebody who loves 30 Rock, that was a really cool detail. But the biggest issue with the film is also kind of the point of it. This is almost entirely about Lorne's professional life. You don't really learn much about him as a person outside the show. There are brief mentions of his family, a couple anecdotes about his childhood and vacations in Maine, but nothing that really helps you understand what shaped him. And it feels intentional, like the film is actively choosing to preserve his mystique rather than fully unpack it. Still, it leaves you wanting more. The structure's also a little uneven. The film spends a lot of time on his early years through the mid-90s, and then it just kind of skips ahead. Entire eras of SNL feel glossed over, which is surprising considering how many people are included. And that also brings up another question I kept thinking while watching. If they got this many big names, who's missing? There are some really notable absences, especially from more recent eras, which feels a little strange given how comprehensive it tries to be. How can you do a movie like this and not interview Kenan Thompson, the longest-serving cast member in SNL history? How can you interview Tina Fey and not Amy Poehler? Chevy Chase and not Bill Murray? Chris Rock, but not Eddie Murphy? That said, the editing, while chaotic, actually works. It mirrors the energy of SNL itself. It's fast, it's a little messy, but there's still a rhythm to it, and the anecdotes keep it engaging. And ultimately, that's what the film does best. It captures the feeling of Saturday Night Live, the chaos, the pressure, and especially the idea that people aren't just working for the network, they're working to make Lorne laugh. So overall, Lorne is a really compelling, access-driven documentary that captures the myth and influence of Lorne Michaels, even if it keeps him at arm's length. It's not the definitive story of SNL, and it's not a deeply personal portrait, but it's a sharp, entertaining look at the chaotic genius behind one of the most enduring shows in television. And honestly, it just made me more curious about him, which might actually be the point. If you like this review, please let me know by commenting down below, giving this video a like, or even subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.